Hello my dear friends, so welcome to the second lecture. So in last lecture we have seen how we can find the order of growth for a particular code or particular expression. So in this lecture we will discuss about best, average, worst case, what are the asymptotic notation, and we are going to analyze some of the common loops as well as recursive loops. Okay, so let's jump into the video. Suppose some function is given to us. A function is given get sum. Okay, now what we need to do here is, so what this get function will do, get sum will do, it will initialize with the sum with 0 and it will take a list. So what is list? List is some collection of like number, element, string, anything it can be, but as of now let us take like this 10, 18, 20, something like this. Okay, and what we need to do, we have passed this in this get function. So we need to calculate the sum of all the elements. So what we will do, first of all, what we have done in this code, we have written sum is equal to 0. Now we will, by using this for loop, we will traverse this list. So as of now, if you don't understand the code, no problem, just go through the what I am trying to explain you. Okay, so initially sum was 0, then in sum we added x. So what is x? X here indicating here, so sum value is become 2 now. Now again we will move to the next element, so 2 plus 3 it will become 5. So sum value is become 5 now. Then 5 plus 10 it will become 15, 15 plus 18 it will become 8 plus 5 3, 33, 33 plus 20 we are going to get 53. Okay, like this we are going to get. So to get the count, what we have done, we have traversed all the elements in the list, right? So I can say that if we want to write the time complexity, so what can I say? That order of growth will be equals to some constant C1 into n plus C2. Suppose here n elements are there, so we have to go to each element, so it will be C1 into n plus C2. So this is the order of growth for this function. And if you are a mathematics student, you know that if we consider this equation, this is a linear equation because here the maximum power of n is 1. Okay, now let us move to the second case. What is the question here? Get odd sum. Okay, so get odd sum, what this function will do, it will sum the value only when the number of elements in the list are odd. Okay, so in the above example, if you are going to count the elements, so how many elements are there? 1 2 3 4 5. So if the elements are 5, then do the count. Suppose instead of 5, suppose if the last element is 35 here, so now how many elements are there? 6. So if the number of elements are even in a list, at that time you don't have to do the count, you just have to return the 0. So first of all, what we have done, we have written a function length of L. If length of L is percentage to equal to 0, it means this tells us the remainder when we divide the number by 2. So if that remainder is equals to 0, if you divide any number with the 0, what you will get? You will get that whether that number is divisible by 0 or not. So, okay, divisible by 2 or not. So here what is the length of L? 6. So 6 percentage 2. If you divide 6 with the 2, what is the remainder? Remainder is 0. It means this condition will be 2 and we will return the solution as return 0. Okay, so if the number of elements are even, so we will get solution in constant time. Okay, because directly we are going to return the solution 0. Suppose if the elements are odd, instead of 35, suppose if the list have only this much of element, so what you have to do, again you have to traverse each of the element and then you need to calculate the count. So we have written the same function. See, sum is equal to 0, then we will traverse to each of the element, then we are going to find and we are going to return the solution. So I can say that if the number of terms are odd, it has to traverse to all the n element. Okay, so time will be C1 n plus C2. Okay, now here it have two different types of time. So if the number of elements are even, it is taking constant time, but if the number of elements are odd, it is taking some linear amount of time. Now if someone asks you what is the time complexity of the function, So you need to give answer in one line. Okay, you can't say that my function will take constant time if it is even, and my function will take linear amount of time or n time when the number of terms are odd. Okay, you have to give answer in one single word, or we can say yes, one single word. So how will you do that? To do these things, what we can do is we can use the asymptotic notation. Okay, now one more thing I will explain you. So here it is giving answer in the constant time, so I can say that this is the best case for this function. So what is the best case? That it will work in some constant amount of time. And what is the worst case? That you need to traverse all the elements and you need to find the sum. Okay, suppose a list is given to you. Okay, let us take one more example. A list is given to you which is not arranged in the ascending order. Let's say it have 16 here, here it is 4, here it is 11. Okay, now if I ask you to find the minimum, the what is the minimum element in the list, so what you have to do? You have to traverse complete list and you need to find the minimum. But in this case you will get that, okay, minimum what you have to do, you have to find, you have to traverse entire array. If I ask you to find maximum also, then you need to check each and every element and then only you will get to know which is maximum. If you need to find sum also, then you need to go to each and every element, then you need to find the sum. It means you are sure here that we need to traverse the entire array. It means it will be some linear time complexity. Okay, but if I ask you to find whether 2 is existing in this list or not, and suppose you find 2 in the first place, so you got in the best time, you got in the best time, I can say you got this in the constant amount of time. Because if the first element is 2 and you are searching for 2, then you got it in the constant amount of time. Suppose this n is very high, suppose this list have 10,000 element. Now if I ask you to search for 2 and suppose 2 is the last element of the list, so what you have to do? You have to traverse entire list and you have to reach to the last element. So I can say you are going to face the worst case. So worst case will be c2 into n plus c3. It means you have to traverse entire array and then you will get the element. And suppose the same case, you have 10,000 element and you are searching for the 2 and 2 is found in the middle of the, suppose if it is middle on the list. So what is the average? Average will be the, means you know how to find the average, so it will be worst plus best by 2. So it will be something like this, c1 plus c2n plus c3 by 2. So let us take this constant again as 1, c4, okay, plus c6n. So again what is the average time? Average time is also linear here. Okay, so best time was constant, worst time was linear, and average was, again we can say that it was a linear. So I think you got what is the best time, what is the average time, what is the worst time. Now to denote these time complexity in one word, there are 3 asymptotic notations. So first of all we are going to say big O. So what big O will tell us? It will tell us either you are sure about the time exact, okay, or what you are going to tell, upper bound, means you are going to tell maximum amount of time. For example, let's say it is taking c1n plus c2. So you know that we can ignore the lower order of terms. So you can write here it is taking O of n time. So if I take the example c1n square plus c2n plus c3. So what I told you, ignore the lower order of term and ignore the constant. So here I can write that it will take maximum amount of time, means upper bound means it is not going to take more than n square of time. Okay, so we can ignore this constant and other variables. Okay, so you can write like this. You can also write like this, O of n to the power 4. Why we are writing O of n to the power 4? I told you it represent the upper bound, means this expression will take either n to the power 4 or time less than that. It is the maximum, means not maximum, you can say that this is a upper bound, means time is going to be either equal to this or about this, but there is no sense to write n to the power 4 here, because here we can see in the expression it is n square only. So here you can represent that this is the order of n square. It means now what you got that big O will take either exact or upper bound. It is going to tell you the upper bound of a function, okay, of a code. What is theta? Theta is going to tell you the exact bound. Okay, whenever you are sure that amount of time, you can say that it is going to take theta of n. Okay, suppose if I told you to ask sum of all the elements in the list, so you told that you have to traverse each and every element in the list, so you can say that it is going to take theta of n. It means you are sure that it is going to take exactly this amount of time. Okay, so whenever you want to find minimum in a list, whenever you want to find maximum in a list, whenever you want to find sum of all the elements in an array, then we are sure that time will be theta of n, because we need to traverse to all the elements in the list. Okay, so theta, what theta will represent? When we are sure that it is exactly the same. Okay, you can use big O also. Okay, here you can use big O also. So you can write big O of n also, because big O is representing exact or upper bound. But whenever you are sure, so you can say that it is taking theta of n time. Both are correct. You can use theta of n, O of n, but this will give you more information that you are sure about your time complexity. That's why you are using theta. And we are using O of n when we are not exactly the sure, means we are sure but it is upper bound, means time can take the less amount of time. Okay, I will give you one more example, right? So the example that we discussed here, so you are saying that if you want to tell someone about the time complexity, so what you can say, for even case it is taking theta of one time, theta of constant time, I can say. So theta of 1 you can represent theta of c. Okay, in odd you are sure about the time period, you can say theta of n. Okay, so let us write 1 only. So if it is odd number, you can say that it is taking theta of n, and if it is even, you can say that it is taking theta of constant time, because you are sure about the time. But if you have to tell the time complexity in one line, so you can say that it is taking order of n time, big O of n. It means either it is taking n amount of time, n amount of time, or less than n time, because it is not, we are saying that time is not going to be go beyond order of n. Okay, so if the situation is like this, we have two scenarios, that in even it is taking constant amount of time. So if you want to represent in the terms of theta, you can say yes, it is taking theta of one time. But if you want to end, it is taking theta of n when it is odd. But if you want to represent in the one line that what is the time complexity of your function, you can say that big O of n. It means you are sure that either it will take theta of n time, or it will be less than the n, okay, n time complexity. So we have seen two asymptotic notation. First one was big O, second one was theta, and the third one is omega. So what is omega? Omega represent the lower bound. Okay, lower bound means whenever suppose a function is given like this, let's say the example, the function is given c1n plus c2. So for this function you can say that, so it is also representing exact and lower bound. So you are sure that it is taking omega of n time. You can also here write it is taking theta of n. You can also write here it is taking big O of n. All the three are correct, but we are going to use the omega when we are trying to represent a lower bound. Now how lower bound I am going to say, I will clear you. So in the above example, when we were trying to find sum, so when the sum was odd, what we were doing, we were traversing the entire list. So we were getting theta of n. And when it was even, what we were doing, we were saying that it is taking constant amount of time, theta of 1. Now if I told you to give me time complexity in one word. So you told that I can say omega o big O of n. What does this tell? That it is maximum amount of time or upper bound is n. But you can also say like this, it is taking omega of 1. It means it is saying the lower bound. Means the time period will be constant or it can be more than constant. Okay, so you can write theta of n when you are sure. Try to use theta when you are representing the exact time complexity. Try to use omega when you are using the upper bound. Okay, so one function is taking theta of n in some case, theta of 1 in some case. So if you are using upper bound, try to use big O. And when we are using lower bound, suppose this function is taking constant amount of time, but it may take more than constant amount of time if the number of terms in the list are odd. So if you are going to represent lower bound, then only use the omega operator. So we have three asymptotic notation: big O, theta and omega. So let me highlight big O. What is theta? How is theta represented? By this sign, and this is the sign for omega. So these are the three asymptotic notation. And if I tell you about from the graph point of view, suppose this is the graph. This is the exact time taken by any function. Okay, this is the exact time. So we can say this is also a theta of n. And if we are using this, so it is covering the function from the lower side. So what is lower? Omega. So you can say this is omega of n. And suppose let us take this as upper. So it is covering the function from upper side. So we can say that it is taking big O of n time. Okay, so you can say that big O function will represent from the upper bound. This is theta, so it is going to represent from the lower bound, and this theta is going to be omega is going to cover from the lower bound, and theta will be for the exact. So you can say like this, there are three big omega, they two are opposite of each other, and theta is going to represent the exact of all the three. Okay, I hope it is clear to you. Still, if you have any kind of confusion, please let me know in the comment section. I will help you to clear all the three things. So big O will cover from upper side, theta will be exact, and theta will be of exact, and omega will be covering from the lower end. Okay, now we are going to do the analysis of some common loops. Okay, some loops will be given to us, and then we are going to analyze them. So now we are going to do some analysis of some common loops that are going to be used in your day-to-day life. Okay, so how I have written code, don't go in this. Just try to understand the time complexity and what that function is going to do. Okay, so first of all, we have declared one variable I with the value as 0. Okay, and here we have declared the value of n as 10, and let's say value of c is 2. So what we are doing, we are increasing this I every time by 2. So first of all, I value was 0, so it is going to take, first of all, I value will be 0. Okay, what is the value of I initially? 0. Then what is the value of I? It will become 2. Then we are going to add 2 plus I plus c, so it is going to become 2 plus 2 4. Then I value will become 4. Then we are going to add 2, then it will become 6. Then we are going to add 2 again, and this is the condition that is going to checked every time, that what is the value of I now? 6. So 6 is less than 10. Yes, it is less than 10. So do this task again. 8. So we are going to get 8. Now it will be 10. So is 10 is less than 10? No, it is not less than 10. So here we are going to get some of the values of I. So here what we are going to get? We are going to get I value initially as 0. Then it will become 2. Okay, then it will be 4, 6, 8. Okay, so when I value is 8, so 8 is less than 2. So it will be, last we will get 10. So after 10 it is not going to increase. Perfect. So this is now we need to find the time complexity of this common loop. Okay, so here we are dependent on n and we are dependent upon c. Suppose the c value is 3. So instead of the value increasing 2 at a time, it should be increased like this: 0, 3, 6, 9, and then the function will over. So we got to know that we are dependent on n and we are also dependent upon c. So here we have how many values? So 0 was the initial value. So this loop run for 5 times. So I can say that it is run like this 10 by 2. So we can say that time complexity is n by c. Correct? So suppose if instead of 10, if the value is 11, then this loop run one more time, because 10 is less than 11 and it will become 12. So it will become like this. So now if you are going to divide 11 by 2, so what is you are going to get? You are going to get something 5.5, and here you are going to get value as 5. So earlier it was working loop as 5 time, but now this loop has worked 6 time. Okay. So plus minus 1 is allowed, plus minus 2 is also allowed, but we got some idea that it is taking n by c time, n by c. And earlier we discussed that suppose it is taking n by 2 time, okay, n is variable, so we were ignoring the constant, so we are ignoring this 2, so we were saying that it is taking order of n time. So what I can say here, I can say that time complexity for this example is order of n, because we are taking the maximum amount, upper bound. So I am mentioning like O of n. If you are sure, then you can mention theta of n also, both are correct. In this case both are correct. Okay, so in this while loop we have increased the value from 0. Okay, now what I have done in the next example, I have taken I is equal to n. Suppose the n value is 10, so I value will be 10 this time. So we are going to run this loop till the I value is greater than 0, and let's say c value is 2. So initially 10 is greater than 0, yes it is true, so it will enter in the for loop. So 10 minus 2, it will become 8, so I value will become 8. It will again go and check, now what is the value of I? 8 is greater than 0, yes. Now it will again reduce the value by 2, so it will become 6. It will again come and check, 6 is greater than 0, yes. It will again reduce the value by 2. It will again come here and check, 4 is greater than 0, yes it is greater, so it will again reduce the value by 2. Again it will come, 2 is greater than 0, yes it is greater, so it will again reduce the value and it will come 0. Now 0 is greater than 0, no, then this for loop will end. So how many values we have got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can say that 10 by 2, or I can say n by c value. So here also we can say that either it is theta of n, or you can say omega O of big O of n time bound complexity. Okay, this was the case. Okay, now let us take the case of multiplication. What is the time complexity if we are multiplying the terms? Okay, so this time let us take some example. Let's say n is equal to 32, I is initially 1, and let's say c is equal to 2. Correct? So what is 1 is less than 32? This condition is true. It will enter in the while loop. So I value will be 1 into 2. So I value will become 2. Now here again we will check, I is less than 32. So 2 is less than 32. Yes. So it will be 2 into I value will be 2 into 2, because c is already fixed. C value is already fixed, but I value is changing. So 2 into 2, 4. Now what is the value of I? 4. So it will be updated here also. So let me try it with the 4, and here also it will be 4. So first of all it will check 4 is less than 32. Yes, then it will enter in the while loop. So 4 into 2, 8. So it will become like this. Now again it will check whether 8 is less than 32. Yes, it is less than 32. So again it will become 8 into 2, 16. So it will be updated like this. So again it will check, 16 is less than 32. Yes, it is less than 32. So 16 into 2, 32. So we are going to get like this. Then it will check, is 32 less than 32? No, this is not the correct case. So we are going to end our while loop. Now we need to check what is the time complexity here. So you can say that it was 2, then 4, then 8, then 16, then 32. So we have started, n value was 32 and we were on 2. So if you are going to divide, you are going to say 16, but we haven't moved 16 times. We just moved how many times? 5 times. We moved how many times? 5 times. So if you are going to analyze this properly, so it was something like this, c to the power 1. C value was 2, so it was 2 to the power 1. Then it was c square, then it was c cube, then c to the power 4, c to the power 5. So I can say that c to the power 5 is less than equal to c to the power n. Okay, n, I can say this n was 32 here because we came till here only. So I can say that, and we have started from the 0. Okay, initially what is the value of I? It was 1. So I can say c to the power 0. So it will be c to the power k minus 1 less than n, and n was also in the power of 2, so I can say 2 to the power n. Now if you are going to take log both the side, okay, so sorry, it was less than n only. Now take log both the side, so it will be like this, log to the base c n. So k will be less than log to the base c n plus 1. Okay, so we were ignoring this constant, so you can write log of n. So now you can match that log of 32 by 2, what is the value? You know the value is 5. So we came to know that this loop is working 5 times. So what is the time complexity of this? Order of log of n. So when we were multiplying, okay, when it was increasing, so we got to know that the time complexity of the function is going to be log of n, because we ignored all the things. Same will happen in the division also. If n value is 32, and so it will be 32, and if c value is 2, so it will be reduced from 32, then it will become 16, then 8, then 4, then 2. So same thing is going to happen, and we are going to get time complexity as log of n. Okay, so here also time complexity is log of n. And in Python, double star means power. Double star means power. Suppose if I value is 2, n value is 32, correct, and c value is also 2. So first of all it will check like this, 2 is less than 32, yes, it will go inside. I value will be 2 to the power 2, so it will become 4. Now it will check like this, 4 is less than 32, yes, so it will become 4 to the power 2, so value will become 16. Now it will check, 16 is less than 32, yes, it is less than, so it will become 16 to 16 square. Okay, so it will become 256. So it will come and check 256 is less than 32, no, it is not less, so we will come to here. Okay, so if you are going to observe this also, so it is like this, 2 square, then 2 square square, 2 square square, like this, something like this. So c to the power, if in the terms of c if we write, so 2 to the power c, 2 to the power c, or 2 to the power c, then c square, then power 8 4, 2 to the power c power 4, c power 8, like this it is going to increase. Okay, we got to know like this. So 2 to the power k minus 1, 2 to the power c to the power k minus 1 is less than n. So here what we will do, we will take the log. Okay, let me write it clearly, 2 to the power c to the power k minus 1 is less than n. So let us take log. So c to the power k minus 1 is log to the base 2n. Again take log, k minus 1 is less than log of c, log of 2n. So k will be log of c, log of 2n plus 1. So I told you we will ignore the lower order terms and coefficient. So it will be time complexity log of n. So if the function is of power, what is the time complexity that we got? Order of log of n. Okay, so these were the general case or general things to identify how we are going to analyze the time complexity. If you didn't get these things, again start the video from here, analyze, and try to go step by step, because this will be very useful to find the time complexity. Now let us see some more examples. Till now we have seen the single loop. Now what we are going to do? We are going to discuss the multiple loop. Suppose this is the loop. So here the value is increasing by 2. So we know that in the sum we got the time complexity as order of n. Okay, in the same code we also do the multiplication. So we know that in multiplication case the time complexity was order of log of n. And here it is going to traverse the complete thing. So sorry, if I is less than 1, okay, okay, so here it will be the constant time taking. Why? Because it is not dependent upon n. Everything is fixed. I is fixed, 100 is fixed. Earlier we were n value was not fixed, okay, but here the n value is fixed, so it will take some constant time. Suppose if our function have all the three things, this loop and this loop, and now I ask you what is the time complexity, so you are going to say that we are going to add all of the three things. But then you will remember that I told you whenever you need to find the time complexity, you can ignore the lower order of terms. So finally you can say that either it is taking order of n, or you can say that it is taking theta of n time. Okay, so it will represent, it will give you some idea. Say either it is taking theta of n or it is taking less than the theta of n time. So if in the case of multiple loop we try to find out time complexity by this, so here the three things were differently. Okay, this block was different, this block was different, this block was different, so we have done the addition. If the blocks are inside them, means if they are in the nested form as there are in other example, so we have to multiply them. It means here if you can see I is less than n, then it is the multiplication. This loop is just doing the multiply. So in multiplication we know that time complexity is log of n, we have seen in our third example. And this outer loop, what this outer loop is doing, here you can see there are two loops. While I is less than n, j is less than n, two loops are there. So this loop is doing order of n, because here we are doing the addition, and in first example we seen that it is order of n, and they two are inside each other. It means the time complexity this time will be order of n log n. Okay, so this is the time complexity in this example. So here also if you are going to see, here this is multiplication, so order of log of n. Here they are doing addition, so it will be again, what is the time complexity, n log n. Now this loop is over, they have again started a loop. Okay, here also they have done addition two times. Okay, so what is the time complexity of addition, order of n, and what is the time complexity of this addition two times, order of n, so it will be order of n square. If I ask you to give me the time complexity of the entire program, you are going to say that it is addition of these two, but I told you we will ignore the lower terms, so this is lower. So order of n square is going to be the time complexity of this entire nested function. Okay, this is the final example. I know it's already 32 minutes, so let us come to this example, and later things we will cover in the next video. So here we can see that it is less than n and multiplication, so order of log of n, and here also doing the summation, so log of n. So we will got to know that time complexity is n log n. In other loop they are saying to add, but here it is m, here the variable was n, so the time complexity will be order of n. And in outer loop also they are doing some addition, so multiply order of n, so what will be the time complexity, order of n square. But if they ask you tell me the time complexity of entire function, you cannot say that it is order of, sorry, here it is m. Okay, m. So if here we don't know the relation between n and n, so the time complexity of this problem will be order of n log n plus m square, because we don't know which is smaller, greater. N and m are completely different numbers, so here you need to write the time complexity like this only. If you are sure about n and m, then you can say, but if n and m are different variables, you need to write the time complexity like this. Okay, so I hope you got what is the worst case, what is the best case. Okay, let us revise in 1 minute what the things we have learned. So best case, average case, worst case we have taken. Okay, we have seen the different example, then we have gone through the notations, what is big O, what is theta, what is omega. Okay, then we have analyzed the loops. Okay, how we are going to write the time complexity. So we have seen in the terms of addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Okay, we also seen the power, and also notice no also calculate the time complexity. Okay, we have also seen the multiple loops when they are different, when they are nested, how to find the time complexity when the okay, two different nested loops are given, and if the number of terms are not equal, then also we try to find the time complexity. So I hope now you can find the time complexity of any kind of common loop. Okay, this much knowledge is more than sufficient. Okay, so in next video we will analyze the time complexity of recursion function. Okay, so thank you. If you still have any doubt, please let me know in the comment section. I will more than happy to solve all your doubts. Thank you.